Most people think imagining fake scenarios is harmless, just daydreaming, just creativity, just passing time. But what if it's not? What if the worlds you keep escaping into are not random at all, but carefully constructed reflections of something your mind is trying to avoid? You're sitting alone, maybe scrolling, maybe staring at nothing, and suddenly you're somewhere else, in a conversation that never happened, winning an argument you lost, living a life that feels more real than the one in front of you. Hours pass, and strangely, it feels good, comforting, like control, like clarity. But when you come back, reality feels heavier than before, slightly disappointing, slightly dull, and you wonder why. The truth is, people who are addicted to imagining fake scenarios are not just dreamers. They are often people whose minds have learned to replace something missing with something imagined. Because the brain doesn't just create fantasies for fun, it creates them for relief, for protection, for completion. And most people never stop to ask, what exactly am I trying to fix in my head? It often starts small. You replay a moment, then you tweak it, then you improve it, until the imagined version feels better than what actually happened, and your mind takes note. It realizes this is a place where you can control outcomes, avoid rejection, and feel understood without risk. So it pulls you back again and again. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is doing what it's designed to do. Seek comfort and avoid pain. For some, it's the quiet need for validation that was never fully given. So they imagine conversations where they are admired, respected, finally seen. For others, it's unresolved anxiety, the constant what-if loop that turns into full-blown mental simulations trying to prepare for every possible outcome. And then there are those who feel stuck in their current life, so their mind creates a version where they are not more confident, more successful, more in control. The imagined self becomes more attractive than the real one. But here's where it becomes deeper. Sometimes, these fake scenarios are not about escaping reality, but about rehearsing identity. Your brain is experimenting, testing versions of who you could be. Safer to explore in imagination than in real life, where failure is visible and consequences are real. And over time, this creates a subtle shift. You begin to feel more connected to your imagined life than your actual one, more expressive in your head than in conversations, more alive in silence than in reality. And that's when it stops being harmless. Not because imagination is bad, but because it becomes a substitute for action, a replacement for growth. But what if the problem is not that you imagine too much, but that you don't feel safe enough to live fully in reality? What if these scenarios are not distractions, but signals? Signals that something in your real life feels incomplete, unexpressed, or out of your control. Because the mind doesn't escape without reason. It escapes with precision. It goes exactly where something is missing. And if you pay attention, your fantasies will tell you more about your needs than your thoughts ever will. So instead of trying to stop it completely, you begin to shift your relationship with it. You notice it, without judgment. You ask yourself, what am I trying to feel right now that I'm not feeling in reality? Is it confidence, closure, control? Then slowly, you bring small pieces of that into your real life. Not all at once, just enough to reduce the gap between who you are and who you imagine being. You also interrupt the loop gently, not by forcing yourself out, but by grounding yourself back in something real. A task, a conversation, a physical movement, something that reminds your mind that reality is still accessible. And over time, you challenge one small imagined scenario by taking real action. Speaking when you would normally stay silent. Trying when you would normally just imagine success. Because the goal is not to kill imagination, but to stop hiding inside it. And maybe the most important realization is this: The life you keep imagining is not random, it's a blueprint. A quiet map of what you desire, what you fear, and what you believe you are not allowed to have. And once you start listening to it, instead of escaping into it, everything begins to change. Because in the end, the mind does not trap you in fake scenarios. It invites you to understand yourself. And the real question is not why you keep imagining a different life, but why you haven't started building parts of it in the one you already have.